I'm Louise Mabulo. I farm, I cook, and I speak up about the environment. I've been working with farmers to restore disaster-stricken land and promote sustainable agriculture in the Philippines. At the same time, I'm pushing for urgent climate action with innovative solutions and inclusive systems.
What if we dared to recreate a world where no community is vulnerable?
This year, I'm going on a quest to uncover how technology can empower communities to take on climate change.
Energy used to just be one-directional, what's possible, new ways of buying and selling energy that actually support the underlying grid.
And rethink our obsession with consumption.
Baga parang sinasabi nga natin, ang pera nasa basura.
Hindi mo lang maisip, pero pag nakita mo to, parang wow. I'm in Smoky Mountain in Tondo, Manila, a place that for years was the very definition of a wasteland. If I was here just 2 decades ago, I would be standing on a towering, almost mythic mountain of trash. Today, Smoky Mountain is virtually unrecognizable from its notorious past. So now we're here at a bodega, which is like a collection facility. And walking through, it's kind of, you can feel it squishy. The soil isn't compacted here, which means it's all like fresh trash and junk that's just dumped here. But scratch beneath the surface and you'll find that garbage collection facilities like this one still exist. There are roughly 11,000 recycling facilities and close to 300 sanitary landfills across the Philippines. But only a third of barangays even have access to them. And with the nation producing 2.7 million metric tons, or 1,200 Olympic pools of plastic waste yearly, only a very small 9% of it gets recycled. It seems like even despite our reusing and recycling, we still can't get on top of our mountains of plastic waste problems. So I'm curious to find out if there are ways that we can scale how we reuse and recycle our plastics and give them a new life. From the ashes of the old landfill, a plastic revolution is gaining ground here in Smoky Mountain.
Good morning!
Magda is one of its recruits.
Ay, magpapatimbang po sa akin na isang ma'am there. Ganito po yung process ng pagtimbang.
So si Sir Arnold po yung collector po natin ng plastic.
Yes.
At nangolekto na siya ng PET bottles po lahat to.
PET bottles po. It's 8 kilos.
8 kilos. Magda runs a collection center for Plastic Bank, a social enterprise that's taking on the plastic pollution crisis.
Punta po ako sa app, may plastic bank. Tapos, hanapin ko po yung name nung nagpatimbang sa akin.
So ngayon si Sir Arnold.
Hanapin ko po yung PET, tapos ilagay ko po yung kanina. Yung pinatimbang niya is 28 kilos. Tapos, add card ko lang siya. Ang kita po ni Sir Arnold is 364 pesos po.
What Plastic Bank has done is create an economy around plastic, treating it as currency. Individuals in impoverished communities collect and exchange it for cash, goods, or services. And the collected product, known as social plastic, is recycled and sold to businesses for reuse.
Every 15, ang bilang nila, magiging pera yung ni member na nagpatimbang sa akin. Ibigyan sila ni Plastic Bank ng pera through GCash.
So kahit si Kuya Arnold, meron din siyang app na Plastic Bank?
Yes po, meron din po siya. Kaya nakikita niya doon, yung pinakilo niya sa akin, makikita niya po doon sa app niya.
So ito po ba yung gawain niyo araw-araw na nangolekta, nag-weigh?
Araw-araw po. Actually, kami, 24 hours.
24 hours?
Yes. Mas marami sa gabi. Walang ganong sasakyan. So nakakapagtimbang ko ng marami.
Magda's 24/7 operation rakes in around a ton of plastic, which is about 900 kilograms a day. Where we're gonna load all this plastic into the back of the truck.
So after the last truck carts away all our precious cargo, I take a moment to find out how she got into the plastic game.
Dati po, ma'am, sa mother ko talaga to nag-start. Before siya mag-umpisang mag-junk shop, namamasura muna siya. Tapos nung naisip niya na, nung may pera na siya, nag-isip siya mamili pa unti-unti.
Opo.
Marami na siyang naipundar, nakabili siya ng mga sasakyan, ganyan. Sa ngayon na medyo tumanda na siya, pinamahala niya na sa amin.
So paano po nag-iba yung buhay niyo? Paano po yung proseso bago nagkaroon ng app yung plastic ban?
Sa plastic bank, before, pag mag-deliver kami, tapos kung anong kita namin, yun na. Ngayong kasama na kami sa plastic bank, nagiging times 2 ang kita namin kasi meron na kaming kita sa pagbili namin ng mga plastic. Si plastic bank, may bibigay pa sa amin incentive. So, nagdodoble siya. Malaking tulong sa plastic bank kasi sa amin.
All this is intentional to elevate the status of the plastics collector from rag and bone man to a freelance worker in a new plastics gig economy. Magda tells me she earns close to $300 a day just from collecting and delivering the plastics. That's just one part of her collection business.
Parang sinasabi nga natin, ang pera nasa basura.
Opo.
So, ang kita talaga niya okay.
Ang dami yung nga pong pera sa basura. Hindi mo lang maisip, pero pag nakita mo to, parang wow.
I'm heading to the Plastic Bank branch office in Metro Manila to learn more about this platform that turns trash into treasure. Quite literally.
Based on the user problem, what is the objective of us as a business for this feature? Anyone?
Carlitas leads the data and app team at Plastic Bank Philippines. They deal with how users interact with the platform.
So the Philippines hosted most of the tech team. We have the business analysts, the quality specialists, and the data team. When there's a business need, a user problem that came up, we need to come up with a new feature.
There are 2 types of end users on the Plastic Bank app. The collectors sell their plastic waste for tokens that can be exchanged for essential goods and services. The buyers, businesses who purchase this social plastic, fund the tokens, creating a digital reward system that supports vulnerable communities.
So imagine this is the app. You create a transaction. Let's say we recorded 10 kg. It gets stored to our server. From here, the data is aggregated, collected, and is presented in a really nice format on what we call the Enterprise Hub. And this Enterprise Hub is where our clients see, let's say, we have collected 10 million kilograms for you.
Okay.
And you have impacted 2,000 communities, 100,000 individuals or members or collectors.
The platform leverages blockchain technology, a digital ledger that keeps a permanent record of every transaction to ensure transparency and traceability. Imagine a spreadsheet that's duplicated across thousands of computers around the world. And every time someone adds new information, it updates everywhere at the same time. There's no central authority. It's super secure and nearly impossible to change without everyone on the network agreeing to it.
We know where each kilogram went, who brought in each kilogram, and where it was traced. And we make sure that the collectors are age verified. It does not come from child labor.
So there's a very big ethics aspect to the data collection and management.
Yes, ethical, traceable recycling, yes.
Transparency and traceability is crucial because of the Extended Producer Responsibility Act of 2022, a Philippine law which puts the onus on companies to be responsible for the plastic packaging through the entire life cycle of their products. And it even includes the plastic used to pack the goods. By 2025, they must recover and divert 50% of their plastic packaging footprint. Founded by a Canadian guy back in 2013, Plastic Bank now operates in over 5 countries, from the slums of Haiti to the shores of Indonesia, providing underserved urban communities not only a livelihood, but access to digital tools and resources.
I'd also love to hear of how you imagine this technology to scale it.
The beauty about blockchain, it really can handle big data. So right now, it's the same blockchain that works for around 260 collection points that we are partners in the Philippines. And it's the same blockchain technology that works for 5 countries where we operate.
Wow.
So in terms of scalability, it's a system that can be applied in any areas.
With plastic waste piling up faster than ever, could this be the game-changing solution the world has been waiting for? Across 5 countries in the developing world, a social enterprise, Plastic Bank, is helping to turn plastic waste into a currency for change. By empowering local communities to collect and exchange plastic for essential goods, services, or even cash, it's tackling 2 pressing challenges: pollution and poverty. I'm in Valenzuela, known as Manila's Plastic City, because of its plastics recycling plants, to meet Romnick, one of its collectors. And he likes to start the day early.
Tapos yung ganito, may walay.
So pag may kulay, magkaiba sila.
Opo, magkaiba siya. Pag hindi mo nilinis, sama-sama siya.
So mas mahal pag nakasegregate na sila
Opo.
base sa kulay tsaka sa label. Okay.
Plastic needs to be stripped, sorted, and cleaned before it's ready for collection. My one job for the day is try and keep up.
Kaya ipunin mo yung basura para hindi kumalat. Kasi pag
Okay.
kakalat ulit. Yan natin mga dito, takip, yung basura.
Kailan ka nagsimula sa pag-collect?
Ay, bata pa po ako nung nag-umpisa ako mga 8 po or 10.
8 or 10?
Opo,
Tapos ilang taon ka na ngayon, kuya?
36 po.
36?
Romnick relies solely on plastic collection for a livelihood, so it's imperative that he gets a paycheck in a timely manner.
Tulad yan, pagbenta niyan, titimbang namin. Tapos sa plastic banks apps po, makikita mo ron kung ilan po yung pinapasok mo na na bottles dediretso po sa plastic bank apps. Doon po namin kinukuha yung ilang bibiling bigas, biling ulam, minsan pambayad po ng tubig, kuryente.
Wow! Talagang essential.
Opo. Sayang naman po kasi kung sasayangin mo lang yung bibigay sa'yo.
Oo nga po. Kaya nagugulat ako at medyo parang okay din pala yung kita sa pag-collect ng plastic.
Opo, okay naman kasi matyaga ka lang dito. Hindi ka naman magugutom, hindi kikita. Kikita ka po. Kasi yung plastic bottle po, marami kang makukuha dyan sa daan. Hindi mo na halos kailangan pupulutin mo lang.
Every day, Romnick does his rounds alone, picking through Valenzuela's junkyards to find plastic trash. Our morning's work brought in 4.5 kilograms of PET bottles, and Romnick got paid for them almost instantaneously.
Yan, Kuya Romnick. So, makikita na natin sa app na may pumasok sa'yo kita. O, mga nakakailan sa isang araw yung kita mo galing sa plastics collection?
Maabot po ng 500, maabot ng 300, ganun.
Wow, okay din. Tapos pwede mong i-cash out sa mga sari-sari store.
Pwede po pag pero madalas talaga, binabayad ko na siya
So, dire-diretso na. Galing sa cellphone pa lang.
Oo.
So, kahit wala ka ng cash, okay lang.
Okay lang. Basta may plastic bank apps ka, ka.
Nakakatuwa naman pala yun.
With the day's work done, Romnick invites me to his home, which he shares with his wife and child.
Eto, pagdating mo rito, ito na. Kusina na. Yun na, CR. Tapos taas. Medyo maliit pa kasi hindi pa natin asikaso eh.
After almost tripling his income with the app, he was able to build a concrete house and has plans to add a second floor to it.
Nataasan po to kasi pagka konting ulan lang dito, bumabaha. Laging puyat ako, lalo sa madaling araw kasi nililimas ko po yung tubig. Pero dahil sa plastic bank, taas yun na ang kulang. Kunti na lang.
Yan, sama ka muna sa amin.
Yun.
Ito ba yung iPad na pang online learning niya?
Looking around Romnick's house, it hits home that nothing goes to waste. Every chair, every table, every appliance has a story. Once discarded, now reclaimed, patched up, and given a second chance at life.
Pag mga wiring, inaayos ko. Minsan kasi madali lang ayos pag eh. Ang nabili ko lang naman dito ng gamit yan, TV. Yan lang. Para lahat ng gamit dito sa puro sa pangalakal.
So interesting.
Kukuha lang sa kalakal, pag inayos mo, pwede pa.
May second life siya. Magagamit po siya.
It gets me thinking. The waste problem isn't about trash. It's about us, about how much we take, how much we throw away. Maybe we don't need to keep buying more. Maybe with education and the ability to see how it's done, more things can be fixed, reused, or given a second shot. Raulio High School, located in the center of town, is one of the organizations that has teamed up with Plastic Bank to spread the word about recycling and fight plastic pollution together.
So we're approaching their material resource facility, which is essentially where they collect the plastic bottles. Okay, so I see a lot of students collecting plastic.
The school acts as a collection hub where students and staff can bring in their plastic waste, turning it into a hands-on learning experience about sustainability and environmental responsibility. The tokens earned from collected plastic go towards funding school equipment or small prizes for the students.
So before you worked with Plastic Bank, what were you doing with the plastic waste in school?
Meron lang siyang lalagyan meron din siyang lalagyan, pero doon lang siya.
So lalagyan lang po. Nakakolekta lang lahat ng plastic. Without...
Wala siyang purpose. We have boxes na ngayon, since month na nga namin. So, naglagay na kami sa rooms namin para yung mga tinatapon nila is ilalagay na lang nila doon. Kasi kaysa nasa basurahan na siya.
A wide range of plastics come through to these collection centers. But as we know, not all plastics are created the same. Which brings me to my next stop, some 950 kilometers from Manila, the coastal city of Davao in Mindanao. Famous for its durian and its growing hub for technology and innovation.
So this is your processing facility.
Yes, this is around 4,000 square meters and we have 2 facilities here.
Envirotech Waste Recycling, born in Davao City back in 2010, is doing what most recycling companies typically shun, repurposing the kinds of plastics that are too messy, too cheap, or just too much trouble to recycle.
All types of plastic.
All types of plastics.
Wow.
We have laminates, we have film, we have bubble wrap, we have candy wrappers, sando bags, or grocery bags.
But also, these are the plastics that aren't labeled. Usually when you have your bottle, takeaway, there's a type of plastic that tells you how it's recycled.
They even do styrofoam, one of the most notoriously hard to recycle plastics. I'll give you a quick 101. Plastics such as PET, found in beverage bottles and food containers, and high-density polyethylene, used in shampoo bottles and detergent containers, are the ones most commonly accepted in most recycling programs due to their high reusability and demand. On the other hand, low-density polyethylene, found in plastic bags and cling film, and polystyrene and PVC in pipes and medical equipment are much harder to recycle due to their structural properties and low market values. So how does Envirotech do it?
First one that you'll see here is we take out the label of the PET bottles. And then the second one is our pelletizing machine for high-value plastics, when we collect valued plastics and then turn them into flake form. And the third one that you'll see here is the crusher machine, wherein we crush all types of plastics, soft plastics or rigid plastics.
Here's the kicker: a proprietary technology capable of melting all these different types of plastic waste in a single furnace.
And once it's mixed up all together, it will be turned over to our Envirotech machine, the melting machine. And once it's melted, it's going to be a different form of a molten material, wherein we can compress it into different product forms. So that's the beauty of this kind of technology. Any kind of plastic can be melted and then put it into a compression machine.
Instead of producing standard recycled plastic pellets or raw materials, the company turns waste into practical, finished products. Like this table, chairs, baby cots, skateboards, and even the foundation of an entire house.
The size of this one is 28 square meters.
It looks so much like lumber. This is all plastic.
Yeah. The flooring is also made from plastic waste.
Interesting. So it's like this capsule house that you
Yes.
kind of assemble yourself.
And who would ever imagine that this house came from all types of plastic waste, candy wrappers, bubble wraps,
Quite
courier
literally,
packaging.
one man's waste is another man's house.
Yes, correct.
If there's another problem this entrepreneur is interested in solving, that would be providing communities with essential products, like school chairs.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, good afternoon.
Oh, these are the chairs.
Oh, I see them.
We want to bring down the school chair problem of our country. When we started this in 2010, the volume is just around 1.8 million backlogs of school chairs. Now it's 2024, it ballooned to 5 million school chairs. So we have to do something about it.
Well, it was really nice to see how the chairs were made, to know that kids would benefit and use this. And it's not just one kid. This is hundreds of kids who could potentially use it through decades and generations of that chair's life.
In a world drowning in waste, this is undeniably one of the coolest things I've seen. The kind of radical thinking that refuses to accept waste as the end of the road. I'm continuing my search for urban tech solutions in Zug, the sleek Swiss canton known for its lakeside views and thriving business hub. The rivers here don't just wind through picturesque landscapes. They power a bold, renewable energy revolution. The Lortze River that runs into Lake Zug in the north is the lifeblood of the historic town of Kam. In the 1600s, mills sprung up along the Lortze, using its flow to power a paper crafting industry. Today, those mills are history, but the town wears its past well.
This is the old paper mill building, which has been converted to loft-style flats. And then in the ground floors, we have office spaces.
This is the Papyri development, and it's what happens when you take a relic of the past and reimagine it for the future. Chief Development Officer Lucas Fier gives me a tour.
So, Lucas, tell me more about this place and its history.
So the room we're standing in was part of the whole paper mill process. What you can see here is one of the very few remains of the original machines where they used to make paper. So Swiss Post was here. This is SBB, so the railway system. So it's loaded with history.
When the old paper mill went out of commission, its owners saw the opportunity to design an entire power grid from scratch and turn this industrial workhorse into something completely new. The entire thing is going to be 100% carbon neutral. This is how they did it.
All right, let's step through to the Lortze River.
For 300 years, the Lortze powered the old paper mill like a heartbeat. Today, it's the centerpiece of Papyri's energy master plan.
It's not an energetic powerhouse, but still it's continuously a lot of water running through, and you can harness the power and generate about 30% of the power that we need for the site.
30%?
Yeah. All right, I'll let you go first.
Thank you.
Now we step inside the beast.
I can just imagine
Yeah,
it
it's
with
quite-
water running through.
Yeah. This is what hydropower looked over 100 years ago.
Hydropower, a continuous source of renewable energy, kept the lights on and machines churning in the old paper mill. Refitted with slick, modern, and efficient turbines that doubles its output, The plant now supplies approximately 30% of the site's electricity needs.
The old turbines produced about 850,000 kilowatt hours, and the new ones have improved at 1.2 million kilowatt hours.
That's most of the heating and cooling for 3,000 residents and office workers. And we're just getting started.
All right, let's watch your step.
On the rooftops, 6,500 square meters of solar panels soak up the sun, cranking out nearly half of the site's electricity needs.
They are plastered all over.
And deep underground, geothermal probes dive 300 meters into the earth, tapping into its natural heat.
Ah, this is the one.
Yeah, this is the one.
The probes use a heat transfer fluid to absorb heat. In winter, they extract it from the ground, and in summer, they release excess back into the earth.
It's very high tech.
No,
Yes.
well, depends, in the eye of the beholder.
Finally, whenever there's a power demand surge, these guys kick into action.
So these are the heat pumps, right? So they basically take an energy source, like water out of the river, and then over a physical process, sort of extract the heat, because absolute zero would be minus 270, right? They're only running when the system is screaming for more energy, basically, right? So now we're following the way of the energy, basically. Those are the power cables. Better not touch, I suppose.
I would hope not to.
Nothing I've seen so far is particularly revolutionary on its own. But how it's all been put together, that's the true beauty of this energy management system. We're heading into the heart of the grid. And if you think you'll find technicians sitting behind rows of control panels, prepare to be surprised.
This is the energy hub I was speaking about. What you're basically seeing here is where everything comes together. You see there's nobody working here, so the machines really are running as they should.
The self-automated system runs on a centralized software. It's networking the entire system, optimizing every watt, every drop of energy.
In the tunnel you saw there was a lot of glass fiber wiring as well. It's called the TechNet, which transports all the informations of the individual spaces and allows this machine to function properly. All the power or all the heating we need is generated. We store it in those tanks, and then it gets distributed to the individual buildings. The real USP of this is to be able to do it when you need it, in the right amount, not waste energy.
It's such an obscure concept to think of energy and electricity, but here in this site, you can kind of see how they get electricity and energy from one place to another, or store them in big tanks and batteries, and cooling and heating our homes, which I wouldn't even think of beyond the switch on a wall.
Now that I've seen the inner workings of the grid, we're heading upstairs to see what it's like living in such a forward-thinking space.
All right, let's step in. This apartment is really finished, ready for moving in.
Oh my gosh, it looks like a painting.
Like there in the clouds is the Rigi, a majestic mountain around here. So of course it's quite a privileged place to live. Each apartment has this small display. The main interesting aspect of this whole thing is that it is a feedback loop where he sees what his consumption is.
So for me as a user living in this apartment, I can not only kind of predict my electricity usage, but I can also kind of average if I'm consuming less or more compared to the rest of the whole neighborhood.
Yes.
And I think beyond that, what's pretty cool is that I can see it.
What's striking about Paperi isn't just the sleek architecture, or the way it mixes old industrial bones with new age minimalism. Cities are flexing their talent for using old urban infrastructure to embrace new, renewable energies.
I think it's really interesting to see how they've built this whole energy grid specifically for the residential with that kind of consciousness. And they've been able to do this because they built the whole facility themselves from scratch. So I'm kind of curious how you can do that for larger cities at a larger scale, or in places where there's already an existing energy grid.
If hyperlocal energy is the way forward, I know someone who has a way of making that happen in big cities. To meet her, I'm heading back to Zug, a place where the old world and the new collide in the most unexpected way. For this little lakeside gem has rebranded itself as the epicenter of the blockchain revolution, a place tech geeks lovingly call Crypto Valley. Dr. Gemma Green is the co-founder of an Australian company called Powerledger, a company using blockchain technology to challenge the status quo of current energy systems.
What was the problems that you were initially trying to solve?
Well, I think what we saw in the electricity markets was that the more renewables being put into the grid through subsidised feed-in tariffs, the more expensive electricity became. And lots of people very oversimplistically would say, well, the cost of wind is now, or solar is now cheaper than coal or gas, and therefore it's kind of game over. You actually need to look at the whole cost of electricity, which is partly the generation cost, but partly the transmission and distribution costs. Using the highway to get the electricity to homes and businesses, using the centralised price signal, you're putting the electricity very far away from the customers, and it became very expensive overall.
Think of an energy grid as a transportation network. Power plants generate electricity, which travels through a network of highways and roads to homes, businesses, and industries. About a decade ago, Gemma and her business partner had an idea to flip the script on how we think about energy. Away with centralized power plants pumping electricity to everyone like a one-way street. And in come local grids, where anyone with a solar panel or wind turbine can sell their excess power directly to their neighbors.
Say we live on the same street, and I've got rooftop solar, and you have a battery, and then some of our neighbours have nothing. Using the Powerledger system, you can actually buy that electricity from me and store it in your battery, and you can use it at night. And if you're not using all the battery electricity, you can dispatch it and I can buy it back from you and use that at night from your battery.
Powerledger's energy trading platform has been deployed globally, from Switzerland, France, the US, and Greece, to Asia-Pacific countries like Australia, India, Japan, Thailand, and Malaysia. Besides reducing the cost of energy transmissions, local grids have another advantage.
If I wasn't buying that electricity from you, I'd be buying it from the grid, so I'd be drawing it from that substation into my house, and lots of people are doing that at night as well, and so there's congestion drawing a lot of electricity at the peak period, so it relieves congestion at different peak periods.
The old system, designed for one-way electricity traffic, is not equipped to handle this many transactions going between all the energy sources. And especially with peer-to-peer transactions, it could be thousands in a second. That's where the use of Solana blockchain technology comes in, to handle all the buying and selling that could otherwise crash the entire system. It also acts as a digital ledger that keeps a secure, transparent, and tamper-proof record for all energy transactions.
So Gemma, what is possible with the energy market now that Powerledger's around that wasn't possible before?
Your energy used to just be one directional and you were just a passive consumer getting a bill. Now you're a market participant and you can sell surplus energy or buy energy from your energy supplier or your neighbours. So I think what's possible are new ways of buying and selling energy that actually support the underlying grid to grow renewables.
It's proving that technology, when done right, can democratize something as fundamental as electricity. Cities are major energy consumers, using over 75% of the world's energy, despite covering just 3% of the Earth's surface. Between transportation, buildings, and industry, they belch out 60 to 80% of global greenhouse gases. And this energy footprint is undoubtedly going to grow bigger as more people move into urban centers. come to Singapore, a city-state perched just 1 degree north of the equator, and with a climate very similar to my hometown in the Philippines. Hot, humid. It's no wonder air conditioning has become more than a convenience, and rather a way of life for this city-state, although you might not be able to tell on this rare, dreary day.
In fact, here in Singapore, about half of the commercial buildings' energy usage is used by cooling systems and air conditioning. I'm here to figure out how we can build more efficiency and how we use these energy systems to cool these buildings.
For that, I've come to the Airbus Asia Training Center. Unless you're an aspiring pilot in training, you don't really get to see what's behind these doors.
Airbus Asia Training Center is a flight training center. It's the biggest training center of the Airbus network in the world. So we are operating 10 simulators, and we are hosting 91 customers across the region.
A joint venture between Airbus and Singapore Airlines, this 9,000 square meter beast of a flight school houses full flight simulators for the A320, A330, A350, and the mighty A380. With room to train over 10,000 pilots a year, it's the biggest Airbus-run training hub on the planet.
Welcome to the Simulator Bay.
The Airbus training simulator machines are state-of-the-art systems designed to provide a safe, controlled environment for training.
So cool! I wasn't expecting these giant space pods. Is that like turbulent? Crazy!
The full-motion simulators replicate the exact experience of flying an Airbus aircraft. From takeoff to landing, down to real-world weather conditions, turbulence, and emergency scenarios.
We're going to try to land this plane.
Okay, ladies, if you tell me when you're ready, just put your toes on the brake and push. We're landing at Changi 20 Center.
So, Luis, not only you have the realistic visual, but also the noise you can hear is the ventilation of the airplane that has been reproduced. Right.
I feel the wind in the air almost.
Yes,
wow.
as well.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, retard.
Okay,
retard,
pull back.
Retard.
Very good. And we can brake.
This is your captain speaking. Welcome to Changi Airport. Wow, what an experience.
Very good.
In order to create realistic conditions inside the simulators, they are individually cooled by these yellow duct pipes that connect to the main cooling unit.
This yellow pipe supplies the dedicated self-controlled temperatures. When we do training, it's a stressful moment for the trainees. They need to be concentrated, showing their ability or learning their maneuvers. So imagine if they start feeling super hot or super cold. We want a very pleasant thermal comfort for them, and that's why the simulator have this ability to be controlled inside in an independent mode.
The building was constructed back in 2015 without today's energy efficiency technologies in mind. But the building's management has kept pace with sustainability, installing solar panels that generate up to 18% of their energy needs, to actively tracking CO2 emissions avoided.
What is kind of the biggest consumer of energy here for your building?
Definitely, in one word, is the cooling of the building, is the air conditioning, because to generate the cool here, we are using chilling plants, which is very massive machinery. To cool the air, we cool the water, and we have to bring down the water to 6 degrees in an environment of Singapore, which average is 32 degrees. So the consumption is mainly in that area, plus on the push of the cold air along the lines.
But their goal of thermal comfort is much more difficult to achieve in the rest of the building.
We try to be aligned with the standard of Singapore, which is around 24, 23 degrees for the common areas and briefing areas. So imagine for us how good will be to be able to micro-control the temperature on those rooms in the future. Today we have this handicap in the sense we cannot control at micro level. We have to control big zones.
In early 2025, Airbus partnered with energy company SP Group to pilot a smart cooling solution using AI and Internet of Things to optimize air conditioning and energy use in the building. Satin Durpal Singh is head of smart cooling solutions at SP Group.
So, Luis, what we have here is a floor plan of one of the zones that we've deployed on level 2. So before deployment, the way this building was designed and many other buildings are designed is this whole floor plan, part of level 2, this is one large zone.
Legacy air conditioning systems are designed to serve large spaces or zones, with limited ability to adjust for changes. The same temperature is being pumped throughout that zone, no matter the room size. That's why you feel warm in large conference rooms and very cold in tiny meeting rooms, even though the temperature is set to the same degree. In this building, they're planning to convert the entire building that was once 8 large zones into 137 microzones, each with its own controls and optimization.
Specifically for what we're seeing here on this floor plan, it's about 30 microzones served by this single air handling unit. From the heat map, you see different colors. The green represents rooms or areas that are at the optimal conditions of 23 degrees plus minus 1 degree. And there are a couple of rooms that are a light shade of blue. These rooms are still a bit overcooled, and we can do more to optimize and get them to a nice even green across the floor plan as well. So that's how Get Control is able to implement microzoning, how it's able to adapt an existing building with modern technologies.
In their pilot, they saw a 40% improvement in energy use for air conditioning, a massive impact. The key to these microzones and microcontrol start with smart sensors.
I've been walking across the building and I hadn't quite noticed that there were sensors across. They're very small and unintrusive almost.
It's called a Helio node. There are hundreds of these that we've deployed all over the facility. It collects a multitude of data and it measures this minute by minute. So it measures the temperature, the humidity, occupancy levels within the space, especially in meeting rooms, as well as various indoor air quality parameters.
Think of the sensors as the eyes and ears of the system. They get a real-time sense of how hot or cold, humid and busy various sections of the building are, as well as the indoor air quality.
There's a lot of interesting pieces of data that your sensors are gathering. Like, I didn't expect that you would be collecting occupancies.
So occupancy is a vital parameter then to be able to make adjustments to the cooling needs of individual spaces based on how many people are within a space or whether a space is even occupied or not.
I mean, in the past, it was just like hot and cold.
So legacy building management systems, the typical control strategy, it's really based around just temperature and pressure. This is an evolution in that, where we take multitude parameters and leverage AI and machine learning to crunch that in real time and make these adjustments on the go as well.
So as we're standing here, the sensors are learning our routine.
Exactly.
All this data goes to a central digital brain, which pulls in external data such as weather conditions and forecasts, and then makes predictions about the building's cooling requirements.
So this is the kind of control space, huh?
Yes, so this is the air handling units, which are the ones that are producing the chilled air that's being sent down via these ducts into all of the different meeting rooms and spaces within the building. So here you've got the central control unit. So it's aggregating all of this information, and at the same time it's actually communicating to the AI services which run on the cloud. So typically once it's installed, it just works to optimize on its own.
Once this powerful machine makes its predictions, it sends a signal out to these nodes hidden in the false ceiling to regulate the amount of cold air in each zone.
So it's actually paired with a smart controller. So the controller takes commands from the smart node and then makes adjustments to the dampers that are fitted within the ducts here to modulate the amount of chilled air flow into these spaces.
A simple mechanism that, together with the smarts of AI, means that older buildings can be retrofitted to become more energy efficient without spending millions on massive renovations or overhauling their systems. Cities, they're where we live in, but they also feel like a never-ending list of environmental mess we can't escape. If anything, this journey has shown me that there are substantial solutions out there. That AI and IoT aren't just buzzwords, but real game changers, revolutionizing the way cities run. Building a future where the people living in concrete jungles actually get to live cleaner and look forward to a better tomorrow.